I want to welcome you guys to our first ever publisher mastermind. This is pretty neat. I've been thinking about doing this for a while, getting customers, users of Leaky Paywall in, and then sharing best practices, the things that we work really hard on to help all types of publishers convert paid subscribers. That's really our mission. And today we're going to talk about setting up a conversion framework that's going to generate more paid subscribers for you. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you this framework, and then I'm going to show you the results of a couple of examples on what actually happens here. So we're recording this session. We will share it to customers. If you're logged in on our website, you'll be able to get access to it when it goes out on our blog. This will be about 20 minutes of presentation, and then we'll open it up for Q&A. So if you have questions as I speak, please use the chat button. I think it's called the chat in Zoom, and then just drop your questions in there. And then Tyler here he's going to be in charge of either interrupting me, or we're going to save these questions for the end. That would be awesome. Okay. You guys can see my screen. Let's jump into it. Oh. Okay. So the problem, some time ago, a publisher told me, what do I do here? I have a lot of traffic that comes to my website, but I'm just having trouble converting paid subscribers. And fundamentally, I think that's the challenge of most publishers, because publishers are good at generating traffic but making the leap to getting somebody to pay for a subscription has been a big challenge. And yes, you have a lot of visitors going to your website, and you have a lot of visitors going away from your website. And why is that? Some of it has to do with, and if you go and ask your best friend to take a look at your website, you might see that there's some pop-ups that show up right away. And there's some offenders, but there's things like newsletter pop-ups and browser notifications and ad blocker pop-ups and all sorts of things that get in the way of what I would suggest is a seamless reader experience. Okay. So the solution is really building a framework to capture and nurture. And the recurring theme for this is going to be drawing the line with your readers that hit your website. Okay. So this is a little bit of a review. If any of you guys follow our podcast or read our blog articles, you'll see, you probably have seen this before, but it's really important. I just want to review it really quickly before we get into the examples. Is you basically have three buckets of readers. You have the readers that hit your website, and no matter what kind of paywall you have set up, they'll pay you. They love you, they'll pay you, here's my money, and they tend to subscribe early. And then you have a lot of random traffic that hits your website that will just never subscribe for a lot of reasons. But the sweet spot are these readers that come to your site. They're real humans. They may even love what you do. They're just not ready to pay you. And there are a lot of reasons that get in the way of payment, not just financial, but they're just not ready. And so this is the opportunity. And keep in mind that if you nurture these, I call them super casual readers, properly, they will subscribe, or a percentage of them will subscribe down the road. Okay. So this is the framework. Some of you may have seen this before. It's a very important framework. It works incredibly well. You have your casual readers coming in from Google and social, typically to start, and they land on your website. They should be reading an article. Let's say they come in from Facebook or a Google search and they land one of your articles. You should let them read that article without popping anything up to them so they can read in peace. And I was thinking about this, and I was thinking, okay, when's the last time you went to an article and were not assaulted by some form of pop-up, right? It's like if you actually read an article and you were not assaulted by a pop-up, it was a nice experience. You felt good about it, right? But you get to draw a line in the sand here, because you need and you want to engage these readers. And that's where the free registration comes in. It's a piece of friction that you purposefully drop in so that and I will suggest the second article that someone goes to, they see this, hey, register and get access to more content, to this article specifically. What that does, of course, is when somebody registers and they go through this piece of friction, which is intentional, that email address ends up on your newsletter, right? And the newsletter's job is to every day or every week, and I would say no less, send those readers back to your articles on your website, which then triggers the upgrade messaging. And there are ways to do that. Okay. All right. So I talked a little bit about the first article being free. I know that some publishers like to give away a number of articles and then trigger a registration prompt or trigger a subscription prompt, a paid subscription prompt. But we've tested this a lot. And what works best is you set the leaky paywall meter to one free article, let's say per month for 30 days, and that's it. And assuming I have seen and read the first article for free, and I go to the second article, this is what should show up in the article content, some model of this. So let's unpack why this works so well. Readers fill this out. Now, this is using our quick register extension. And the concept here is to keep the subscription funnel extremely simple for the readers. There's no math involved in making a decision. There's no looking at 2 buttons or 3 buttons or multiple choices. There's really one clear path here. And the path is that the story is free for you, which speaks to the motivation of the reader. They want to read this story. That's their primary motivation. And in order to do that, they drop off their email address, they drop off their password, and they hit submit. The copy here is important too. You create a free account and you get more of your news or your magazine articles directly into your inbox. So they know that they're going to get on your newsletter. That's the main push of this free registration. And we've been testing different shapes and sizes of this, and this structure works really well because it's one button, submit, sign up. Now, if I'm already a paid subscriber, I'm looking for a login link. You don't have to tell me to log in. I know I'm a paid subscriber. And if I'm not logged in, I'm looking for it. So just having a simple text link up top, already a subscriber, log in here, that's all you need. The bottom link, this is optional. Subscribe for unlimited access. Readers don't really click this. I talked to a publisher yesterday who had an idea and they're leaning into, it's a B2B publisher, they were leaning into sponsorships heavily. And they wanted to use this space to promote a sponsor, like the free registration would be sponsored by the newsletter, the free article would be sponsored by whoever they get to sponsor. Okay, so that's the free registration. This is the first step. It's one free article, that's it, they have to register. And I know you guys are squirming, some of you anyway, because I've seen it. Okay, now, let's say I've registered. Email address goes to MailChimp or goes to whatever email service you're using. And the quick register unlocks the article. If you're not using this, I'd recommend to grab our conditional display notice, which is an extension we have. And it's super simple. And it lets you output this little message, this bar here, and just type in the text you want, upgrade your account. It's just an elegant way to remind anybody who's logged in as a free registered reader that they can upgrade for full access. And that's it. This bar you can set so it only shows up to the free registered reader. Okay. Okay, your newsletter nurtures. So the concept here is that your newsletter is sending your readers back to your website over time, over and over again. And the upgrade message, which is what you see here, is something that they need to see 10 times. 15 times, 20 times, 5 times. They need to see it a number of times, typically on average. And this is a nurturing process. Some people will subscribe earlier in this process. Some people might take a year, but it's a process. And let's unpack the upgrade message here as well. Again, it's very simple. There's one button, one thing to do. And one thing I want to lean in on, because I see this mistake happening over and over again, is that most businesses, not just publishers, but most businesses sell their features, right, of their products or services or whatever. And selling a feature for a publisher is great. Get unlimited access, get the newsletter early, get full text in your paid newsletter. There are a lot of features that you can promote, and those are good. But what's great is when you speak to what the benefit is to your reader. How are you making your reader the hero in this relationship, right? So this is a pretty good example here. You reach subscriber-only content, support us, stay informed. Okay, so if I support this publisher, I'll stay informed. and I'll get local news that I can count on. So that's a benefit to me, right? You want to really focus on your reader, on that subscriber. Stay informed with our award-winning coverage, help us hold officials accountable. This particular publisher does a lot of work with reporting on what's happening in town hall and helping the community understand what the ramifications are. Get 24/7 access, support transparent journalism practices, be a supporter, enjoy our clutter-free digital experience. What I would suggest is homework is look at your free registration, what that looks like, and look at your upgrade messaging and what that looks like. And just copy what's here. Just copy the approach. Your content's different. Your approach might be a little different, but this works. And one of the things that, let me get to that in the next one. Okay. Let's talk a little bit about one more comment. You set the meter to one free article. When do you show this next message, right? So I come in, I register, I get the article, I go to the next article, I get the next message. In other words, it's 1 and 1. So what works the best that we have seen so far is you set the meter to one free article, and then the reader gets one more article, and that's it. They have to pay. So it's not, the New York Times started a long time ago, 11 years ago, I think it was, with 20 free articles per month, right? No registration required. And then they've tightened and tightened and tightened. And now if you go there, now you have to register to read something. So they figured out that the registration is the key to conversions. So you have to draw the line here. That's the theme here. You have to take a breath and really draw the line. Say, look, you get one free article, but that's it. Okay. All right, let's switch gears a little bit. That's the free registration. Let's talk. I want to show you a couple of really good subscription pages. This is going to make you squirm too, I promise. We're going to go back to our old friends here at Small Boats, and I want to unpack this subscribe page to you. The bottom line is they offer one subscription choice. That's it. And I know some of you are print publishers as well as digital, but the concept here is don't make your readers do math when they're checking out, because I can't tell you how many subscription pages I've looked at where I'm doing math, I'm trying to figure out, is the monthly better than the annual? But what if I get the membership level? Or there are too many options in life. One offer. And you can, if you look closely, you'll see that there's actually two offers on this page, but the mental weight is really just one offer. So let's go from top to bottom. First of all, just a quick note, in your navigation, make sure you have a very clear subscribe button or membership button in your navigation, and then a login link next to it. Buttons increase clicks. If you don't have a button in your navigation, you need to go put one in right away, because people need an easy way to, I need to subscribe for full access, to understand that. The way that Small Boats sections this, and they've been testing this for a long time, is they have the benefits. It's a benefits paragraph. It's a warm welcome at the top, and then the features at the bottom. This sort of 1-2 punch works really well. I'm coming in, I'm considering subscribing. Gee, should I subscribe? Here's the emotional reasons, here's the features, and then really it's one choice. I subscribe. But wait a second, there's another choice. I don't know if you can read this, but this is give as a gift. But that's not hard for my brain to calculate. I think, it's either subscribe for me or subscribe for someone else. It's a pretty easy calculation to make. Okay. The other secret here that I'll share with you is that if you go to their website and you click subscribe, in other words, you're not coming from an article upgrade message. Maybe you've been here a few times, maybe it's random traffic. You hit subscribe, you get to this page. You go straight to this page, which has all the benefits and the features laid out. So you're going to make sure you get your message across to somebody who hits subscribe. If you go to smallboatsmonthly.com, which is this website, and you run out of articles and you get the upgrade message, you go straight to the registration form. You don't go to this page because you've been nurtured through the subscription funnel so that you've joined the email list, you're getting the newsletter, you're getting sent back to the content. And the day you decide to hit the upgrade message from an article, takes you right to the registration form. You skip this and go straight to the form and fill out your payment information. And the registration The free registration has the added benefit of having that reader's information already in, so all they have to do is put a credit card in. Okay. Let's take this is, and Small Boats falls into the magazine long form content category. Okay, let's look at one more. This is news publication, very different. But if you go to their subscribe page, you'll see a very different approach, a very different offer. But it's really like doing math. It's one offer. I have this subscribe now button. That's really all they're promoting. And this looks like this might be part of a bunch of offers, but it's not. It's just one offer. Now, if you look closely, you'll see there's actually two offers because they sneak in this is the monthly plan. They sneak in an annual plan and save 17%. So what this does well is it keeps things super simple. It brings the pricing forward so people know what they're paying. That's good. And Tyler, you worked with Salem Reporter pretty closely. I think you told me that this approach results in about 50% annual subscriptions, even though the monthly is the big winner here.
That's right.
That's an interesting piece of intel, which might suggest that you would switch the two offers and make the annual the big one and the monthly the small link.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. And I'm personally not a big fan of discounting trials, but these guys made it work. This works really well. First 3 months for the price of one. You pay $10, you get 3 months, and then it renews at $10 per month. For them, it works really well. So if you've been thinking about and you can't resist the urge to do some sort of promotion, this is a good one. Okay, I'm just going to, because I know everyone's squirming, some of you are squirming about how tight this approach is. But yes, you want to set your meter to one free article per month. So anybody coming in just gets an article, no registration necessary. And then the next article says register and you get it for free. And that's it. You get the one free article. And it's set as one free article per month. And essentially what you're giving away is one free article per month in any case. And that's it. It's really tight, but it works really well. One of the things that you have to keep in mind is you guys have awesome newsletters. Like your newsletter is awesome. The free newsletter is great. It gets sent to my email box and I get to see it. And it's, oh, I might not read it every time, but I look at it. Sometimes I read it. Sometimes I find an article that's awesome. Then I click and I get reminded that I need to upgrade and pay for full access. So the free newsletter you have is a huge value to the reader. Yes, you're being restrictive on the website, but you need to remind people that you need their support, right? And if you look at your Google Analytics, you'll see that your average visitor views when somebody comes in per session, per time they come in, is about 1.7 page views, 1.6 page views, 1.8 page views, something like that. So you need to stop people on that second page view. Otherwise, they just go away forever. And that's a big chunk of traffic that's doing that. So stopping people with the paywall is really important. That registration needs to be really tight. Okay. So let's look at the results of this. This is two publishers. One is news, one is magazine, and they have this exact framework set up, the one-in-one framework set up. They've been running it, one for a very short period of time and one for a longer period of time. So this news publisher, we helped launch less than 30 days ago. They have a fair amount of traffic to their site. And in less than 30 days, they have attracted a little over 300 paid subscribers and a little over 3,000 free registrations with this approach. That's pretty good. That's almost 10% the ratio paid to free. And now if you look, and by the way, this is our insights feature. I don't know if you've looked at these charts, but if you go to Leaky Paywall Insights, you'll be able to get at this chart. The blue line represents paid subscribers, and the pink line here represents free registrations. And if you look closely, what you'll see a relationship between the amount of free registered readers versus paid readers. There's a spike in free registrations. There's generally a spike in paid subscriptions. Okay. And then this is a magazine publisher. Very different numbers. This is the long form content results. And you can see, again, there's a 30%, over 30% relation, new paid subscriber relationship versus the 200 free subscribers. And if you look at the relationship of the chart, you'll see, generally speaking, if there's a spike in free registrations, there's a spike in paid subscriptions. And what we have found is a lot of subscribers do subscribe early in this framework because they've landed on an article. You're treating them, you're not popping up anything. They read the article, that's great. They go to a second article. Now you draw the line. Oh, you got to register for free. I don't want to do that. Maybe I really want to read this. Okay, here's my email. Here's my password. Boom. Okay, you got the article. They're on the newsletter. And then they get to the third article and they're like, okay, this is pretty good stuff. And then they go and they pay. It doesn't happen all the time, of course, but it does happen, as these two lines would suggest. Okay, so I don't know how long we've been here. Oh, a little more than 20 minutes. Oh, about 20 minutes. So 3 things to do. 1, clean up your subscription messages. Again, we're going to post this video on our blog. Just make sure you're logged in to leakypaywall.com and you'll be able to see it. And so clean up the free registration message, the paid subscription message, simplify your subscription offers. I know this is a big lift, but if you can keep your readers from having to do math when they land on your subscription choices, you're going to convert more. I would suggest just try it for 30 days. Sell 1 subscription for 30 days. If you're a print publisher, offer a print and digital and let people opt out of print if they don't want print. Same price though. Keep the pricing the same. And then tighten the paywall. So it's 1 meters on 1. Free registration gives you 1 per month. That's it. Okay. That's the presentation. This is where we may have questions. I don't know. Tyler, do we have any questions? And I will also suggest that next time, we haven't landed on didn't get around to locking in the time, but next month, we're going to focus on newsletters. Dan, you asked about newsletters in the beginning. We'll talk about newsletters next month. All right.
I'm particularly interested in, when you do set up next month, help us with a newsletter which is comprehensive and associated with an issue, and then help us better understand a newsletter that acts as a notice, not a cheap notification, take over your screen thing, but a newsletter whose purpose is to alert the audience to something that is timely. Of course, what I'm really describing here is a long form sort of newsletter and then a very efficient short form sort of newsletter. Both doing the same thing. They're both driving people back to the content of the publication. Part of that is because in B2B, I see 5,000-6,000 opens in LinkedIn on a single post. And I don't have the benefit of them coming back. They're to come to the website to see what the article is about. But I don't have the same impact that I would have if they had responded, if the same 5,000 people had responded to an email that dropped in their box.
When you say short form newsletter, you're publishing issues. So are you talking about just a quick announcement? The issue is live, or are you talking more traditional?
I do a thing called Here Are the Headlines. It's a 5-minute audio describing the most important headlines of the week, and it needs a supporting newsletter.
So it's almost its own newsletter. Is that what you're saying?
It's its own newsletter, but the thing that it has to do that's different than a newsletter that has buttons and lots of data and other things in it is it needs to grab them and bring them to me quickly. What I see happening with newsletters, I get 7-8 newsletters a day from New York Times, lots of different people. I scroll down those newsletters and I see a conversational note now as the most innovative form of newsletter, trying to give you a little insight into which articles you should punch on. And I'm compelled to think that's a very good strategy. But what if I just want to draw someone's attention to 1 or 2 timely things that are occurring? They're lost in that big newsletter. That's the newsletter by definition has 20 links in it or 30 links in it.
Yeah.
because they're trying to show you the smorgasbord of their newspaper today. Or in my
Yeah.
case, with my magazine, I've got a smorgasbord of 20 articles that are in this next issue. But I'm talking about something more akin to what we're doing with the podcast, with the business to business news. We don't pretend we're a newsletter, but what happens is like I say, I get 5,000, 6,000 opens when I send a post out that's compelling.
Mm.
But in that particular world, it's very limited because it's just my LinkedIn audience that sees it. It'd be great
Mm.
if I could get something just as interesting
Okay.
out there
Yeah.
that the whole world would see.
You know what I would, so that's an interesting question. What I might consider doing is before you post something on LinkedIn that you think might have some traction, is require free registration on your site in order to view the article. So you can test that out. I mean, it's really about getting that email address, right? Because then once you have the email address, you can breathe these in and be like, okay, we're just going to send the good content. So that's one idea.
And that new system of yours is so powerful because an email and a password is so much easier to use than going someplace and filling out a form. And that's just the right way to do it.
Yeah, we think so. It works. Second thing is maybe a separate newsletter that's like a quick hits or best of, or I don't know what the answer is, but something that's like I get the Washington Post. It's called the top 7 of the day or something like that. It's called 7 something, and the idea is like 7
Yeah,
things that happen.
CNN does. Yeah,
Yeah,
CNN does top 5. Same thing, same
right.
basic approach.
It's good. It's
Yeah.
short. So a separate newsletter would be the way to do it. And then the last idea is just changing the mode completely and go to like app notifications when something is important. You just send, of course, somebody has to download an app, or you go to SMS, right? And there are services now that are starting up for, you have to collect a phone number up front during the registration process somewhere, but sending out a push notification for something that's important. That's another way to do it. But I might try just locking down an article on your site and forcing a free registration and just see how that works in a day or two when you post something on LinkedIn. You can experiment with that. Yeah. If you have a big LinkedIn audience, which I know you do, Dan, you want to get them to join your newsletter. And maybe the trick is to build a special newsletter for your LinkedIn audience. Like that's because if you have a big LinkedIn audience, I imagine that they might react nicely to something that's built, especially for them to not waste their time in B2B.
I'm finding that my followers are great. They've opened me at 60%. But when I post to LinkedIn groups that are associated with our main topic, but the post could fall flat. I can get 3, 4 opens out of the 12,000 guys who were part of that group. Or that post can hit 6, 7,000 out of the 30,000 inside of a group. And I'm just awed when that happens.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm not getting much out of it, not as much as I could out of it.
You might need something a little more compelling to drive people to drop off their email address. Like I know you publish reports, you have data that you publish on your website, and maybe offering that trade where you give away one report just for the link. Anybody who's in LinkedIn, you can get this free report in trade for an email address, right? Because it's all about
What they want is they're not going for the reports. They want articles.
okay, yeah,
The business guys want articles. So it's okay, dudes, I'll send you that.
okay, yeah. I
Long form articles about a particular country or whatever. Yeah.
think that's your answer. Just try it, see what happens. Yeah, see what happens. Maybe there's something special you can sell. You could send to your LinkedIn crowd that's very short, very to the point, and just designed for them. Yeah. Cool. Thanks, Dan.